Today, we're going to take a look at how Speech Language Academy is helping to reduce the cognitive overload on educators. This here is my list of students, and I'm going to go ahead and select a couple of students here to start a practice session. Once I click on Start, these are all the different games and activities included on Speech Language Academy. And let's say that today we want to work on practicing our speech sounds, and I'm going to select Articulation Flashcard to do that. I'm going to click Start. Now, notice that it automatically gave me this picture and the word broken. Now, how do we know that the child needs practice specifically with the R word? So let's take a look at this. Once I click here on this icon for the settings, look at how beautiful this pop-up is. And let me explain what this pop-up is doing. At some point, when Isla came for therapy or for a learning session, I told the system, look, Isla maybe started working on her P sounds, and one day we had it selected. But then once she mastered producing and speaking that P sound correctly, I went ahead and marked that she mastered that sound. Now, eventually, now she's working on her R cluster sounds. Let's say that she will learn how to say her R's correctly, and we're going to move on to L. Now, you don't have to do this every time you come in to do a practice session with these students, because this gets in the way of the learning. It's wasted time setting up every time. So what we do, we remember the settings, and when the child comes in, we automatically give you the sound, the pictures, so all you have to do is work on practicing. Now, notice how beautiful this is. Isla is working on her L sounds. If I click on Angela, Angela is working her TH sound. And if I click on the settings button, you will notice that Speech Language Academy will remember, and you see her profile is very different from the previous student. Also, we can take a look at how her phonological processes are coming together. You could have done and practiced cluster reduction S, or maybe whenever she's ready, you master the sounds. But if you compare this pop-up, which I'm going to go ahead and select TH, to Isla's pop-up, you can see that it's a very different profile because every child is different. So this is one way that Speech Language Academy is helping to reduce that cognitive overload of having the educator always remember what each child is learning on which level they are practicing. Now, when we click here, we also get to see what each child is working towards. Each child that receives special education services has an individualized education plan. So when we click on the child, we can see her cute avatar, her name, and what are all the things that she's working on. And this is done throughout the entire program. If I go to a different activity, such as following directions, and I click Start.
Following directions.
First,
monster.
touch the small orange shirt. Second, touch the big red strawberry. Third, touch the big blue car.
So now you will see a completely different game setup. And if I click here, notice how we remembered that she's mastered these levels. If she was a real student, she probably would be here on level 5, or she would have had this mastered and this selected and this one deselected. So we're going in order, and the program will remember. And then we can take a look at how Angela's doing.
Touch the small
So look at
brown
Angela's
table.
profile, very different. So every time you come in and you want to switch and make a change, you can just click on this icon to make a change, but you will not be prompted. The educator won't be prompted to remember where the child is and where the child is progressing at her level every single time, because teachers are helping many students. So we are really reducing that cognitive overload on the game end, but also on the data end, because the child's progress is being tracked automatically. The educator doesn't have to come here and manually input this, which does improve the reliability of the identification of any issues and the progress for the students with detailed information on how that specific child is progressing. So if I click here on an activity for adjective, we can see which different concepts she's having trouble with. So in this case, you can see that Isla has completely mastered her feelings words, but we're still working on all the other concepts. And that it is Speech Language Academy.